This week on the segment, you can't miss it. It's Miss Suzi Hullick. She's red and white. She's Westpac. She's from banking. It's an absolute cracker. Miss Suzi Hullick. Hey guys, welcome to this segment. Today is super exciting. We have a national icon up here in the Northern Territory, Miss Suzi Hullick. She's going to play it right down. She's red and white all the way through from Westpac Bank. She's been a great friend, great advocate, great mentor, and she's absolutely passionate about the NT. Welcome, Suzi. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Thank you.
Good. Now, she's going to come off all humble. I'm going to build her up. She's like a koala bear. No, we love her. She's a good mate. But I've got to say right off the top, you've been in banking 20 plus years, probably more. Yes, we won't say the number. Okay, you can. But I got to say that I think the way generally the banks have handled themselves through COVID has been outstanding. And I think that would be something that most small businesses would say that has been an amazing response. Has that been fair on your side?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, the response had to come from the banks. I think, the economy and the impact on the economy from COVID, and we've still got a long way to go. Yeah. It's a long tail, unfortunately.
All right, so we need to get to this title, which is Head of Indigenous Banking Australia, across Australia. But you weren't always in that place. That's a niche sector for you right now. But you're head of commercial banking, South Australia, Northern Territory and Tasmania.
Yeah, I had Tassie for a couple of years.
Tassie for a couple of years. So very broad experience. We'll dive into that. But first, can you give me the snapshot? Because it started off not in banking for you. Give me the Suzi Hullick story.
So I joined the Navy at 17. With the tick off for my mum in the 80s.
Oh, gosh, brutal.
Yeah, brutal, a female in the 80s. I joined as a woman in the Royal Australian Navy, which is the RANS, the last intake. And then did 7 years there, nearly 7 years, in electronic warfare, which is around satellite communications and things. And then had my boys posted to Darwin. Yep. I had posted to Darwin first. Had Jamie here, and then my husband and I were posted separately. So I discharged out of the Navy, and we went on a journey with him in his career in the Army. So he and I met in training.
He was in the Army and you in the Navy. Ooh, baby, look out.
Okay, right. But he did try and get across into the Navy because he did subs for a couple of years. So he was always on the edge.
Good on him for trying.
And then and we were living in Toowoomba, and we decided to come back for many reasons, but mainly health reasons. And we came back to the Territory because that's where we where our family is. Yeah. Our friends are our family. And so we came back to enjoy a new start. And came back with not much, actually, a car, a boat, because we love our fishing.
Which is the most important thing. Forget the kids, as long as you brought the boat.
and wrote a letter to NAB to employ me. And in fact, the senior partner there today, Angela Tomaso, she was the HR manager at the time, and she hired me. Across, yeah. So her and I are good friends. That's where we started.
So local girl, red and white now with Westpac for how many years?
11 years.
And the sector that you're overseeing nationally, and you must be pretty proud of that. I mean, that's a really niche market, turning a very big ship. But tell me about the area that you're running now.
Yeah, so Indigenous banking sort of incorporates both the consumer and business division, and we sit in the front line. So most banks have their Indigenous banking team or Indigenous sector in sustainability in a metro office. So we look after the remote services. So we've got a service where we go out onto community, invited by community to go onto community to help support them in some banking platforms, learning, in the moment education. We do train the trainer, so we do financial wellbeing workshops.
For Indigenous.
For Indigenous businesses, as well as consumers. So for Indigenous clients, we do financial first steps, so basic budgeting and the like. I'm doing a session next week in Alice Springs with a group of bush traders, so women bush harvesters, so that's going to be exciting. And we also then have Indigenous business, which is about, the sector from entrepreneur all the way through to joint ventures and working with those organisations. And then our partnerships, which is access to capital, so microfinance. So we look after 3 significant partnerships there. And one in particular, which will launch in November, is called First Australia's Capital. So we partner with them around access to capital.
Because I don't think that most of us would think through the complexity for Indigenous people that are 1,000 miles in the bush. Let's say for us up here, Maningrida or Remangini or some of these places that depend on services, and there is no other way, I would imagine, out there, paying the rent, getting fuel, food, all those issues. If services go down, it's extremely complex. So is that all in your area?
Yeah, it is. So that experience working with the consumer team on what that looks like now. And part of the remote services is to make sure that we're keeping abreast of all of the issues. And they don't often change, but connectivity is one. Advocating for better connectivity in remote Australia is critical. Including Telstra, NBN, all of those things that, we bank on platforms now. We bank on devices, so phone and iPads and computer. And they've never really had a branch connectivity. But we quite often say in the customer contact, visit your local branch. So my role is to actually say internally, actually, that's just impossible. You don't understand. So I've been able to have that voice at the table, which has been extremely valuable for the organisation. So, small steps, but we're on the journey.
Yeah, good. So while we got you, let's put you in the hot chair. Commercial banking. This is all about small business and promoting and supporting. You've got a wealth of experience here in the world of commercial banking. So tell me, what are some of the pillars that small business or medium business must have in place if they're going to be successful in the commercial area?
Yeah. There's so many things that a small business owner needs to think about, and you won't know it all. So lawyer, accounting, all of the things that come with running a business that we try really hard to understand. But what falls down is actually your experience in those things. So entering into contracts, making sure you've got a lawyer behind you that, and we know they cost money. But we also know that without them, that's a high risk for you in the business. So investing in making sure that you've got that ticked off. And we always leave the customer experience or the front line as to last. Because as the owner, sometimes that's you. Right? And so you're the one answering the questions because you don't want it to be, the message to be, unclear, or, you're managing your diary as well as, you're quoting and you're doing everything. So I would say, don't be known for the old adage of NT, not today, not tomorrow, not Tuesday, not Thursday, and put some measures in place that help support you at the front line, that customer experience, that first contact. We've all had, I'll call you back and it never happens. We're all waiting for quotes. It never happens. Invest there. That's the touch point of the community. If you've got, government contracts and the like, that'll go on. But you also need to make sure that you're dealing with the domestic market as well, if that's where you are.
Yes.
That retail or wholesale, or you can have customers here. Don't let them down as well.
Yeah. I reckon I've known you probably 10, 12 years, and I think that seems to be a common theme with you. That first touch point, the tip of the arrow is critical. It's one thing I've learnt from yourself, just is that's critical. And so I guess I'm hearing that is one of the major pitfalls that businesses leave till last.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly is. And I think as business grows, they forget about that because they're so busy doing everything else. Yeah. And in fact, that could actually be that next step of growth.
Let me give you a little bit of a plug here. We're not great at sort of taking accolades, but in our journey of starting off a small business, we had quite a really rough journey. Yeah. And you know, my wife is, she's pretty vocal, and I remember she called your office and we went through about 3 or 4 different account managers, and somehow you obviously picked up our file and saw that these customers weren't happy. And I remember you visited down here in McMinn Street. You came down personally probably about 10 years ago and you said, how do I help? Well, after you got the barrage from my wife and she unloaded and you heard it all, and we've had this fantastic journey with our bank. And I think you're right, that touch point is critical, and it's something that we often don't invest in enough.
Yeah, and we haven't got it right either. You expressed, you know, 4 account managers. You know, if you think about every business in the territory, turning over our people, we've always been challenged with that, and we're no different in banking.
Yep.
You know, all the banks here, that's no different.
Yep.
Finding good people to stay for a long period of time is, you know, you have to invest in them.
Yeah.
You know, and give them the opportunities that they may not get down south. And, you know, here, and it's interesting because I reflect now and go, I still owe the territory something. I can't leave. Even if the job offers that have come, I can't leave because I still feel that there is work to do. The territory has given me such great opportunity. And yes, I've picked up a few, you know, things, you know, on my own, but still being here has given me such a grounding to do other things nationally that I feel like I still owe it something. Yeah. So I guess that that opportunity exists for everyone who comes. It's whether you embrace it.
So let me ask you this question. You have sat in on $1 million deals for the last 20 years, over and over and over and over. Okay, it's a weird question, but does money change people? Like, do people, they're at this level and they grow up to this level, do you see a change in individuals or?
You know, money's a commodity. Yep. That it's how you use it. Yep. That is, you know, you either invest back in your business, you invest in your family, you create a platform of wealth. But actually it's the lived experience that changes people. So whether things go well or not so well, that experience changes how a person behaves in the future. So, and it's an awful thing to say that, you know, businesses have to close or go bust to learn something. But if you reflect on the why and use that, it's the lived experience that changes people.
How does small business, when they're starting the journey, choose a bank? Now, this is hard because, you know, you're Westpac, and I want you to fly the Westpac because they've, you know, for us, our experience has been a positive one, okay? Yeah. But if you're able to sit back and say, to give some advice, how to choose a bank for a business, how would they go about it, particularly in a age where we're all going online? What do you do?
Yeah, so I think the experience needs to be your own experience. So you can go to a branch, or you can, you know, pick up the phone, or you can be the keyboard warrior and find out. But if you're looking for price, that's probably, it's one element, but it's not the entire element. Yep. We say in banking, you come on price, you leave on price. So we need to build relationships. Right? So we need to give you the offering that makes you stay. It's not just about the price. So I would suggest that you do your own investigation. You go on and you look at all of them, and it's actually who responds to you.
Got it. So it's a customer experience. You're still saying, even though we're getting pretty savvy with electronics, it's still a customer experience.
Yeah. So as a bank, we've relied on our branch network, we've relied on our relationship managers, but during COVID, it's proven that we need to get virtual. And so the front-end user on our web page or on our is the respondent now. Like, that's the interface. Right?
It is, hey,
you get your chatbot up, or you know, that's the interface. So if your response in that element is not great, go the next one, and then you make your decision. You know, there's so many options out there, and each bank isn't for everyone. You know, they have their own values, their own community aspect. They have their own.
So you're saying find out, do your research, and figure out what works with you.
Yep, absolutely.
But you know, I've got to say, is the one thing I have learned about territory businesses is, even though we don't use the term innovative, most territory businesses are phenomenally innovative because we don't have volume and we don't have scale.
Absolutely.
But the curse of that is that we start numerous departments, back to your original point, where it's not our core business. Yeah. But I would say business at large is incredibly resilient up here once it gets through, because it does have that ability to adapt.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say to that is I'm not averse to going out on those, but make sure that you address and set up those businesses exactly the same way you set up the core. De-risk it, right?
De-risk it.
Don't use the core business to facilitate all of those other arms if they're not wiping their own face along the way.
Yep.
You know, that to me is fundamental.
Yep. I think you said something before that I can't remember how you phrased it, but I said to you, going back sort of 6-7 years ago, there was this big push in the media or marketing with banks. Look, drop everything and go and refinance with another bank because they'll give you 0.5%.
Yeah.
That whole model of getting new clients seems to have died down because I would imagine it didn't work because, like you said, I'm not going to give up sort of 10 years of history for 0.5%. And you said something about if people come for money.
They come on price, they leave on price.
And is that true?
Yeah, yeah. So, if they come on price, then it's up to us to build the relationship, to give them what they need, not just the price. Banking has so many elements, It's, the structure of the financing model. It's the broader information sharing. It's the knowledge. It's the industry specialisation. There's so many things that come with it. It's not just, could you imagine, coming and saying, you want to, participate in a new venture in health. And I'll go, no.
It's health with fishing. It's fishing, recreational fishing. That's what it is.
It's health media, maybe.
It's nowhere close to your core business.
No, but what it is actually someone, you can come and talk to someone and say, actually, this is what I'm thinking. And someone being quite honest with you. And I think one of the things that I've really held true is that, honesty with the customer, outlining, still understanding that they've got this great aspiration to grow and coming with the idea, and then being able to work with them through de-risking that and setting it up properly,
Yeah.
That's the exciting stuff.
You probably won't remember, but I remember a couple of years ago, I've enjoyed our professional relationship because you've been quite candid and quite honest, kind of brutal at times too. And I came with a couple of great, wonderful, creative ideas, and Suzi sort of had this face like, you're an idiot. Chris, it's not your core business, you're an idiot, But if I said I want to drop you right in the hot seat here, so we're going to ask you 10 fast questions. So here we go, 10 fast questions. I know you like your fishing. Hopefully you're going to give me a few tips here, but where's your favourite fishing spot?
I'll give you a broad, no tips, typical fisher, long lost.
Okay, I want the GPS points, fantastic. Favourite restaurant in the NT?
Rendezvous Cafe, I'm a Luxor girl.
Luxor girl. Now I know you work with many charities here in the NT. Can you pick one?
I'm not a checkbook sponsor, so it has to be effort. So Red Cross, because I give blood all the time. God,
I faint at needles, but anyway, there you go. Favourite, I know my favourite hair salon. What's your favourite hair salon?
Headquarters in North Lake Shopping Centre.
Good on you. And I know you're an advocate for buy local. Is there a shop up here for that you kind of?
So fishing, absolutely, complete angler out at We Sell Fun, absolutely. We spend a lot of time and money there. But no, I absolutely shop local as much as I can. Even, I don't love online, but there's sometimes you have to shop online, but please support local businesses.
Okay, favourite coffee shop?
Cafe de l'Art.
De l'Art.
Oh, yeah, Brown Sugar, I think. Change the name, Cafe de l'Art, bottom of TIA building.
All right. Now there's I always see you at events in the dry season. Is there one dry season event?
Has to be Dancing with the Celebrities.
It's a great event.
Dancing with the Celebrities.
And here's a loaded one for you, completely loaded. Who's the easier to employ, men or women? Come on.
Women.
Women, okay. Well, fine, okay. So let me ask this: what is for Suzi Hullick one of the most Or is there a moment that you're most proud of? There's probably a lot, but is there one moment that you can sort of pick and go, really proud of that moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's so many over 20 years in banking, and there's been lots of challenges, but there's been some great things that we do as organisations and as individuals. But I would say that the 2013 Overall Woman of Influence Award at the Westpac group, that was for the whole group, which was presented by my idol and a great role model in Gail Kelly as the CEO. And we know she's on the Rebound Commission, so I'm super excited that she's going to have an impact on the territory, because I think she's such an incredible individual with so much depth and knowledge. But that would be my proudest moment, you know, and it was the inaugural as well. So it was, you know, there's so many elements of being, you know, the first, which I really love.
I think one of the things that really, I guess, has always super impressed me, Suzi, is that I've known you for many years. I don't think I've ever seen you have a bad day. I know you probably have them, but I've never seen you. You've always been so super positive about the banking, you know, and particularly in a small town, we can obviously get a little bit negative, but I want to say thank you. I know you champion the NT. You're a massive believer in supporting and buying local. And I really want to come back and say I think the banks have done extremely well for COVID, really, just broadly, right across the whole sector.
I agree.
Very, very well done, mate. Thanks for coming on. You're a national icon, national treasure up here in the NT.
Thank you.
Awesome, mate. Thank you.